I'm Janet, the vocalist of Mimesis. Thank you for listening to our self-titled debut. This video is going to go over the lyrics for our song, The Mirror. So each of our songs on this record have a psychological or emotional theme as well as a scientific theme. The scientific theme in this song is a little bit smaller than the other songs. The theme is light, and the emotional or psychological theme has to do with the duality of good and evil in each person. For this song, I also was very inspired by Gothic literature. So things like The Picture of Dorian Gray, Beauty and the Beast, and The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. Overall, what I want people to take away from this song lyrically is to not judge a book by its cover, and what's on the outside doesn't always match what's on the inside. A mirror image, if I bend the light, will I reflect, will I gain insight into the very soul that I'm afraid is mine? So reflect is a double meaning. A mirror can reflect. It reflects light, for example. But reflecting can also mean thinking really hard about something. This opening is about introspection. It's about a person really looking into the mirror physically and wondering, if the outside matches the inside, but it's also about reflecting on all the good and bad things that they've done so far in their life. Dispersion and a colorful diversion from the monster inside, the one ashamed of the light. Dispersion involves light turning into different wavelengths or colors. This represents change here. The diversion is the fact that the person looking into the mirror doesn't really recognize themselves. They've done something bad. So it's the idea that everyone sees something positive in this person, but this person really sees something very negative in themselves. Resplendent, magnificat. Resplendent represents someone who is attractive on the outside. The magnificat alludes to being feminine, but almost in a godlike way. This is about the magnificat composition of music. This was a piece of music in classical music, basically, that was created a very long time ago. It features the Virgin Mary as the main singer, and the point of the song is to proclaim glory to God. A lot of old classical music and choir music was about this exact subject. A lot of it was written a long time ago to be sung specifically in churches. That was the way to get music out to the masses, to do it in like a big cathedral or church. A lot of the music that I actually learned how to sing on was pieces of music like the Magnificat that were more for a choir. In this song, the person is looking in the mirror and they are wondering if they're really a good person. They're wondering if they were acting selfishly or trying to be like a god in a selfish way. Traditionally, doing what you truly desire in a lot of cultures, especially in Christianity or Catholicism, traditionally that was considered very sinful because it was considered very selfish. You were supposed to be more collectivistic in the sense that you were supposed to do things that would benefit the group, not necessarily things that would only benefit yourself. Leroux had it right. The monsters in the darkness and the music of the night. Libertine, hedonistic dream. Running wild. So there's a lot here. Leroux is the author of Phantom of the Opera. In this song there are 4 spots where the song titles from Phantom of the Opera are sprinkled in here in the lyrics. This is one of them. Music of the Night is one of those song titles. Wilde also alludes to the author of The Picture of Dorian Gray, which is about a person who is very attractive on the outside, very young and youthful and beautiful, and he's a very rich young man, and he ends up being painted by someone, and the painting ends up basically aging and in general getting very disgusting looking instead of himself. So the painting is aging instead of him, and it kind of allows him to do a lot of awful things. He ends up becoming very greedy and selfish, and the more awful, sinful things he does, or selfish things, the more the painting looks decayed. Running Wild is used in the lyrics because this is written by Oscar Wilde. He wrote an essay called The Decay of Lying, which is anti-mimesis or anti-mimetic theory. He insists that life imitates art rather than the other way around, which is that art would imitate life, which is the definition of mimesis, the word. The two main pieces of Gothic literature that I've discussed, which is Phantom of the Opera and The Picture of Dorian Gray, they both have characters that represent duality pretty well. So in Phantom of the Opera you have the Phantom, who is a genius. He's a musical genius, but he's also an engineering genius, and he lives under the Paris Opera House. He is very visually represented by duality because he has a mask that covers half of his face. His face is very disfigured, and as a result, he kind of like hides out at the opera house because people have treated him very, very badly in life because of the way he looks. He ends up falling in love with this beautiful singer at the opera house. In the book, he's kind of murdery. He's basically a psychopath in the book. And of course the Broadway musical, which is a great musical, but the Broadway musical kind of makes him out to be this romantic guy, and it's kind of weird if you've read the book. But anyway, he tries to woo her, and she already has like a fiance, and it's this whole thing, and he basically tries to kidnap her at one point. I guess I'll just give it away for the sake of this video, but he ends up kidnapping her, and he's going to, you know, keep her for himself. And then at the end he has a change of heart and realizes that he really does love her in a true way, meaning he wants her to be happy even if it means that he's not happy. And he realizes that what he's been doing is extremely wrong. He lets her go. The Phantom is interesting because the way that life and the way that people have treated him because of his disfigured face really seemed to create the evil inside of him. It makes him really resent people as a whole. The Mirror, which is the title of this song, is also a title of a song in Phantom of the Opera. He uses the mirror in Christine, that's the singer he falls in love with. He uses the mirror in her dressing room at the opera house to gain access to her and to eventually take her down into his lair. Overall, Dorian Gray as a character is very, very beautiful on the outside, but very ugly on the inside. The Phantom, I would argue, in the musical especially, is really ugly on the outside, and on the inside, at the end, he ends up being, I guess you could say, beautiful. He ends up doing the right thing. The moral of the story, we are both capable of doing both good and bad things. No one ever stopped to think that the Beauty and the Beast were the same damn person. Goes to the next lyric. So another piece of literature alluding to this duality is Beauty and the Beast. You have the beautiful young girl, you have the Beast, kind of similar. He's very aggressive, and then he ends up being very beautiful on the inside. He ends up, you know, not being as aggressive even though life has beaten him down. Look at me, trembling, crumbling, this porcelain mask of skin is slowly dying. If I smash the glass, can I paint my own portrait? Or am I stuck in this hell, stuck in this shell, stuck in this hell, stuck with myself? Can I paint my own portrait alludes to destiny. Do we have a destiny and what's happening to us is just going to happen? Or, you know, are we able to really have control and agency fully over our lives? Are we really in full control? Beautiful creature, selfish creature, a masquerade, a lying charade. So Masquerade is also a title of a song in Phantom of the Opera. Duality is referenced in the beautiful creature, selfish creature part. You can be both at the same time. I'm past the point of no return. Point of No Return is a song also in Phantom of the Opera. Point of No Return in general as a phrase represents kind of a turning point in a story, so the music at this point of the song also changes and we start to go into the climax. I hope you enjoyed our song The Mirror and what the lyrics mean. I'm a huge book nerd. Kind of going along with the Gothic literature piece, I wanted to incorporate kind of like a classical style of vocal too, so that's what you hear at the very beginning of the song with the choir vocals. Thank you.